Hello everybody, WaffleTime here. Here we are, and yet again I've caught you lacking beyond human comprehension. Pop quiz. What's the most dangerous class out of this mix to go against? A raging warrior wielding a blade crafted from the stars. B, a universally renowned ranger, one with a gun which is said to echo its raw power across the universe. Or C, a mage with forbidden knowledge of every demented spell to exist. Time's a tickin', got your answers locked in? 50 waffle points to whoever got this one correct, because that was in fact a trick question. The real answer is D, a wizard with a gun. Now that's a wizard with nothing to lose. A wizard, that means business. A wizard, that's a walking example of everything we'll be plucking our eyebrows out over in this playthrough. So today, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to answer your burning question. Can you beat Master Mode Terraria with only magic guns? Or will you be subject to the human Muppet, up to the elbow treatment from the god-awful, grueling limitations on weapon choices? Certainly there's only one way to find out. Before we jump in, however, we must first discuss the gamer ground rules. Firstly, and let me be the first to say, regrettably, I will not be starting off with a magic gun, but will try and get one as soon as possible. Then as soon as I have one, it's nothing but wizard toolies from then on. On that note, I'll do everything in my power to get meteorite bars from deep cavern chests in the first world we load up. But if I can't, we're allowed to make another world simply to try and find the bars. Lastly, I'll be using a handful of quality of life mods simply for convenience, which I'll have down in the description if you're interested. Let's jump right in, shall we? Chop chop, waffle time, we have work to do. Get it? Chop? It's because we're chopping trees, and it's like if we quickly messaged Plantera to make sure we aren't soon going to be a father, as that dad joke came out rather abruptly. Then to take our minds off how we'll blatantly deny that that kid is ours, we build ourselves a god-awful rough outline of a wafflewood workshop. We then make ourselves some wooden armor to compensate slightly for our physical size and stature. Then become a California landlord by building cramped NPC housing, charging $3,700 US a month simply because we put the word luxury before the listing. Things are going quite well, but our goal at this point is atrocious. Though there are some things we can do to better prepare ourselves for when we actually have a weapon. The big shit stinking elephant in the room is the process of actually getting said weapon. As of this point, there's only one weapon we can legitimately get, and it's gonna be a goddamn nightmare like the world has never seen before. Right now our only option is a space gun, and the only way we can get the space gun is by finding golden chests that rarely spawn in deep caverns just above hell, that rarely actually have meteorite in them. Our other choices for pre-hard mode are the bee gun, which drops from Queen Bee, and the Grey Zappinator, which is rarely sold by the traveling merchant, only after the Eye of Cthulhu has actually been defeated. All of that to say, we are stroked silly if we can't find meteorite in a timely manner. Our only option currently is to gear up as much as possible, then go on the eternal hunt for the forbidden spacebars we oh so desire. With a head full of steam, we begin our march to the left, and, okay, we build more NPC housing to cope with being humiliated by the mere presence of a meat monster. Then swing right instead. We collect cactus, helplessly poke a vulture who would love nothing more than to pluck my caucus right off the bone. Then manage to find ourselves a blowpipe. Wonderful. After venturing right a smidge more and seeing our jungle, we teleport back home immediately. Because I don't know about you guys, but jungle mobs swarming my feeble wooden armor covered body and giving us some unknown jungle diseases that haven't yet been discovered by man sounds nothing short of abhorrent. Come on, WaffleTime, you've been playing Terraria for how long now? You know the strats, you have the vision, get into that jungle and get you some loot. You know what, WaffleTime, you're right. We hold our breath until we almost pass out, spontaneously grow some balls large enough to traverse the jungle with, go down the first cave we find and die fucking instantly. This is gonna be a wonderful playthrough. I'm excited, dare I say thrilled. We head back home, unwillingly, and finish off the Wafflewood workshop before making a long row of platforms up top. This way, we're not only ready to give the Eye of Cthulhu the one eye, one jar explosion surprise, but we're also able to collect as many fallen stars as we can to get our mana sauce juiced up to the max. We do just that, sleeping until the night's almost complete, then going on hyper turbo star collection duty. Soon after, we make ourselves a elevator to gear up as much as possible for the ultimate meteorite search of the ages. The hunt begins. We manage to find ourselves a magic mirror, plenty of life crystals, a crawdad that has done research on how to full Nelson any Terrarian that comes across his wicked path, a goddamn flare gun, and a spore skeleton which learned its ways from the crawdad of doom. Words cannot possibly describe the utter feeling of raw despair and helplessness bursting from each of my many capillaries, though the indomitable human spirit in us wishes nothing more than to have a wizard Draco on our hip to teach our enemies a magical smithin' lesson. So we keep it pushing. We find a flail which gives us the shakes in public, more life crystals that taste like cherry rock candy, and none of you can change my mind about that. Another goddamn flare gun, and shoe spikes, which happens to be our first honest-to-God accessory. We are not off to a good start. I'm about ready to take out my firstborn child's college funds and bet it all on red. We keep adventuring, willing to beef some stroganoff for a measly fucking lick of Hermes boots, and find ourselves right above the fiery pits of hell. An imp comes by, proclaiming he learned something from the crawdad he wants to show us, so we teleport home immediately. We will be taking no part in that, no sir, no ma'am, no gamers all around. Our middle name is Full Nelson, and we intend on showing the mobs how it's done. When we have a weapon. God diggity damn when I tell you gamers this took long? 6 hours. But we'll get to that. We collect as many ores as possible, narrowly avoid being boned. Hunt for deep cavern chests for approximately an hour. Find one! I can no longer feel. We go back down with a spelunker potion, that way we can find these rarely spawning chests much easier than before, heightening our chances of... I'm going to be sick. We find a cloud in a bottle, max out our HP, find another cloud in a bottle, an extractinator, a band of regeneration, which is pretty goddamn tight, and another magic mirror. In the early 3rd hour of our search, we find another goddamn magic mirror. To take a brief intermission from getting magic mirrors as frequently as comments saying I sound like Moist Critical, we quickly locate our shimmer and move in some more NPCs for easy access to said shimmer. Then get curious, drop trow, make one small dip and get our entire bodies yanked below. It's not all a loss, however, as we're able to continue our endless pursuit of meteorite in what's becoming quite literally the longest goddamn start to any of my videos in existence. And I hate to say it, but we're just beginning. We keep searching and find jack shit. The more we search, the more I come to the conclusion that we're probably, according to my calculations, at least 90% bone beyond belief. After ravaging our world some more and coming to the conclusion that we're gonna have to try and find a different means of getting our hands on the beautiful space gun we desire, we throw a life crystal, mana crystal, and a fruit into the shimmer for a handful of upgrades. And simply ponder, what can we possibly do at this point? It's clear there's not enough deep cavern chests for a shot at getting meteorite that way. What other means of progression can we possibly utilize in a crippling time like this? Well, there is another option, but it is not pretty. Meteorite's also found in shadow chests in hell, but you need a shadow key to unlock those chests, which are found in locked golden dungeon chests, which, wouldn't you know it, you need another goddamn key to unlock. But WaffleTime, you can't go into the dungeon, you haven't beaten Skeletron due to your horrendous skill issue. I humbly retort, shut your ass. Our plan now is to use a suspicious looking eye at the dungeon, summon the Eye of Cthulhu and get that oversized, all-seeing bastard to clog the spawn rate so we can hopefully get a golden key from breaking pots in the dungeon, to hopefully be able to open the right dungeon chest, to hopefully get a shadow key, to hopefully find meteorite in the goddamn 7th circle of hell. I'm going to take this out on my future family. You see, the Eye of Cthulhu spits out his foot-worshipping minions at quite an alarming rate, which is excellent for us, since after a while, there will be no chance of the Dungeon Guardian spawning in and stroking us silly, permitting us to explore the dungeon as much as we can. Now's our chance. We hustle into the dungeon attempting to break every pot we could find on the ground, and have zero luck whatsoever finding a key. It's only near the end of our miserable short lifespan that we see a wooden chest and die goddamn immediately. Words can't describe the disdain seeping out of every orifice my body provides. However, with any luck, we'll be able to take the key from that wooden chest and get a shadow key lickety-splickety. However, we decide to try another route, collecting dungeon bricks and turning them into unsafe dungeon walls. As according to the legend Sorbet Cafe, if we're deep in the rancid anal crevices of hell, and place these walls behind pots, we have a small chance of getting a key from them, as they'll be read as dungeon pots. Unfortunately, however, despite the fantastic, genius methods that Sorbet Cafe hand-delivers to each and every one of us, the WaffleTime luck curse sits in yet again to punch me directly in the throat. After another full hour of pot smashing, we get 2 fistfuls of fuck all before taking a bite out of our keyboard and mouse in pure gamer angst. Then head back to the dungeon and hope for the best and expect the worst. Lo and behold, after much more searching, we manage to find ourselves our first golden key. We open our first chest and get nothing more than a blue moon. I've never been one to believe in spontaneous human combustion, all until this point, where I feel as if my entire body could burst into flames at any given moment. We keep searching, finding absolutely nothing along the way, but manage to make our way over to the wooden chest we found earlier, giving us another shot at getting that beautiful shadow key we would slaughter many for at this point. We make our way to the closest golden chest, and are immediately subject to urethra eyeball disease. Fantastic. We repeat the same process, open the first golden chest we find, and not only get nothing, but realize that no amount of rolling our monitor and keyboard up like a newspaper, or plucking our eyebrow hairs out individually with tweezers, will ever make us feel again after this. We smash as many jars as we can, get absolutely nothing, then get stage 2 urethra eyeball disease. far worse than the first, with the noticeable physical deformities in the no-no zone. I am not doing well. Thankfully, however, there may be a cure for our itch. Our friend may be here to save the day yet again. As again, according to that goddamn beast Sorbet Cafe, if we place these unsafe dungeon walls behind hell pots, we might just get a key. We leap and bound through hell, trying out this method, and unfortunately for us, get a bountiful scoop of jack shit before a fireball grabs us by the shoulders and knees us in the face as hard as it can possibly fathom. We keep trying this process, and after getting absolutely goddamn nothing even more, and experiencing a petrifying ego death that changes the way we speak and act in our day-to-day lives, we take another crack at breaking every last pot in the dungeon. That's right, you heard me correctly, we break quite literally every pot we could find in the dungeon. There are no more pots. There's less pot in this dungeon than there is in Texas, and we pass away with our glimmer of hope dissipating before our very eyes. After looking even further for deep cavern chests, just hoping for the best, and having no luck whatsoever, we decide it's time to take our matters into a different world, and search for quite literally 3.5 hours, scouring large worlds for one measly bullshit drop of meteorite. We come across a deep cavern chest and, "Meteorite, I'm sorry, but I have to admit, I'm not even angry about you anymore. I bear no grudge against anyone. It's just that my Terraria world feels so wonderful right now. Throughout heaven and earth, I alone am the honored one." After checking myself into a psych ward for 6 to 8 weeks and loosely recovering on a surface level from that atrocious of a goddamn start to this single playthrough, we can finally get started. Truly, the work starts now. We make ourselves a beautiful, beautiful space gun after so long, give it a sloppy, wet kiss, then treat ourselves to an absolutely saucy diamond robe. We have zero time to waste. You've all waited far long enough for some succulent, juicy game progression. We have a tremendous eyeball to teach a magical smith and lesson. With that being said, we create another long row of platforms just beneath our star collection platform and sleep until night to begin battle. The fruits of our labor have truly paid off. Our sweat, blood, and tears. We forgot to get mana potions. Shit. We are so incredibly back. We're back to an extent the world has never seen before. And by back, I mean shooting a non-blinking eldritch eyeball repeatedly with a space gun I'd rather shit in my hands and clap than attempt to get again. We're highly overpowered at this point, so the battle goes extraordinarily quickly. If it went any other way except for this good, I would feel more inclined than I ever have in my life to eat glass. We quickly work through a second phase, then tell him he got his Cuban link on Temu, causing him to combust out of sheer humiliation. Now that felt good. It felt so good that we feel confidence for the first time in ages. It's time to put ourselves out there. We build a quick housing setup for the Dryad in the jungle, ask where our hug's at, get a funny look, throw up all over the floor in front of her, then simply go lay down and take it all in. She wants us so bad it's embarrassing. With our newfound confidence and prowess, we make some upgraded mana potions, then head down to the Crimson to build an arena, only being interrupted 27 times every 3 seconds by interrupting spiders. Stop! Eventually, after clearing out seemingly every spider that's ever existed in the entire world, we defile the last Crimson Heart in such a way that the Brain of Cthulhu personally has to come out and check on our well-being. How do we retort? Space blasting the non-existent ass cheeks directly off the brain itself. Considering we, the people of WaffleTime Inc., are ass men, ass women, ass people of the highest caliber, this form of degradation comes with no mercy. We quickly clear out the hordes of various eyeballs floating around the brain, then get to the brain itself. And the brain hatches a master plan of duplicating itself to throw us off. Clearly, the brain had no idea that we had that dog in us, because as we approach defeating it entirely, we simply utter the words, 5-way or the highway, and it surprisingly does not choose the highway. We get the brain-style tendril treatment and our god complex is lost once more. It's no matter, however, that's a problem my future psychologist will have to pull out of me like a rotten tooth well into the future. We're focused on the now. And right now, there's some decent upgrades we could get to make the fight lean in our favor. We start by ransacking the jungle, completely slaughtering every mob that breathes its nasty-ass hot morning coffee breath all across our face in the office with no shame. We do this not only because it feels fantastic as a form of exposure therapy, but also to get the components for some delectable jungle armor. All we could think about is the 400 measly goddamn health the Brain of Cthulhu had in our last battle, and it drives us to the brink of shaving our eyebrows off and drawing them back on. However, as we get home and craft that unbelievably saucy, swag-maxing set of armor, our confidence again begins to boost to an unrealistic extent. Much like a Jenga tower, our confidence can collapse at the slightest breeze that doesn't go our way. But as of now, it's a fucking tower, and we'll take advantage of it while it lasts, as this jungle armor may just be the boost that gives us the edge against a big bad brain. We summon him up once more and yet again begin blasting away the various eyeballs he provides. The Brain of Cthulhu, instead of talking things through, decides to come at us with aggression. It's clear he's seen our immaculate drip and wants nothing more than to not see us blinged out to the max. So we take the high road. We're adults after all. We handle it concisely, kindly, and with our words. Then we shoot him in the chest 27 times and take his sweet sack of loot back to the Wafflewood workshop for our own financial gain. We take no goddamn prisoners here at WaffleTime Inc., and the Brain of Cthulhu will soon serve as an example to the other bosses that decide to scuff our lemon pepper steppers. Our drip shall remain unscathed. We go back home and get the best sleep of our lives after the great brain purge of 2024, and suddenly a meteorite lands. You know what the goddamn hell that means. It's time for space drip. We swing all the way to the left and see that it completely demolished our snow biome. That's okay, 19 dead, 47 injured. One man to collect the delectable spoils the meteorite provided. We rush home, make some armor that's out of this world. Get it? Out of this world? It came from space, out of this world. It's because it's like, if it's from space, I understand if you all throw rocks at me in public for that joke. To win the audience's favor once more, we summon the Golem Invasion. Not only to wipe dickless goblins off the face of the earth, but also to get our hands on our favorite wife-sharing individual yet, the Goblin Tinkerer. With him, we'll be able to upgrade our gear incredibly and slap even more ass than we have been so far. As soon as we're finished R34ing the goblins, to switch things up for everyone tuning in, we put our listening ears on and simply peruse our elevator. And as soon as we hear an overly ecstatic wife and the sound of a sad, sad goblin behind a video camera, we know we've lucked out enough to find a Goblin Tinkerer. We quickly interrupt his session to buy ourselves a Tinkerer's Workshop, as well as a pair of rocket boots to swag max with. We then go hunting on Sky Islands for more gear to upgrade our loadout with. We first find ourselves a shiny red balloon, which is the most common sign of a clown woman lurking about. And brother, I will have no choice but to get involved if I find one. Take that as you will. Aside from finding a realization of our eternal lust for clown women, we find yet another balloon, a celestial magnet which is actually sick as hell to have in this playthrough, and a lucky horseshoe which is just what the goddamn doctor ordered in regard to our accessory game. How peak, how fuego. That's that shit we like. You know what else we like? Some sweet-ass lightning boots to give us that forbidden Zeus drip. And how about a blue horseshoe balloon to really make the Tower of Babel go even further? To test out our new gamer prowess, we boogie on over to the dungeon to bust it down sexual style as a quirked-up white boy goated with the sauce all over Skeletron's fat-ass forehead. We build a quick arena and summon him up, immediately blasting his gargantuan hands so they can't slap us around. Or even worse, grip us. We attempt to keep him level throughout the fight so we don't have flying skulls manually receding our hairline beyond repair when we aren't ready for it. Then as soon as they're out, we gun for Skeletron's tremendous noggin. Remember folks, if I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. The last thing we want at this stage of battle is head from Skeletron. It's teethy enough to kill a man in sometimes as little as 3 hits, so we avoid it entirely by flying in circles around it. We see his health getting lower and lower, and soon enough we take him out entirely. What a goddamn relief. Thank God that nightmare's over, now it's time for the Fungin. Because who doesn't love enemies that can hit you through a wall repeatedly, and even stop the use of any tool or weapon upon contact? Life is great. Thankfully though, we're after one simple thing in the Fungin today, which we get immediately, and that's the Cobalt Shield. Not being juggled by enemies like we're in the goddamn circus is always a great priority in our playthroughs. And the less time we spend in the Fungin, the better. So life is certainly sunshine and daisies currently. We turn it into an obsidian shield and slap that bad boy on immediately. Do we really have any purpose behind killing Queen Bee? Maybe a little. Would it make us feel slightly and temporarily better about our physical size and stature? Yes. We start by making an arena directly above a hive, decorated with a few rows of platforms. Potion up and summon her immediately to get to battle. While it's true there may not feel like a true rhyme or reason for stomping on Queen Bee and wiping her off on the sidewalk, she actually drops the bee gun, which is another magic toolie we can add to the belt. Why use the bee gun? Well, a Zappinator would be very nice. But every single traveling merchant I've encountered thus far in this world has been selling a bucket full of fuck all for a price that's quite unreasonable rather than simply having a Zappinator for us. So as of now, it's gonna be you, me, the wall of flesh, a magic gun that shoots bees, and a sprinkle of hopes and goddamn prayers. Because I truly don't imagine this going any other way except atrocious against a wall of flesh. The battle with Queen Bee goes quite decently to my surprise. And though we don't get our beautiful bee gun on the first attempt, we have the means to spank that stinger several times over, which we do with fantastic precision. Getting a beekeeper, taking a bite out of our desk in pure rage, then regretting it when we get a bee gun on our 3rd attempt. With our new weapon at hand, we decide to try Queen Bee once more to really see how much damage we could do with our magical blicky wielding setup. And it's fucking horrible. It served as a genuine surprise that our space guns seemed to be doing a staggering amount more work against the various bosses at hand. It was clear we needed a better weapon, and unfortunately for us, it seems as if the Zappinator was our only express ticket of getting the hell out of pre-hard mode. So we simply wait. We wait days, we wait nights, we make an entire fishing pond and fish for God knows how long for a sundial, and another to turn into a moondial. And we goddamn wait. As if we haven't done enough waiting, simply trying to get our first weapon, we wait some more. All until eventually, at long last, a traveling merchant who didn't want to be drowned in silt or thrown into lava comes our way with the most precious, beautiful belonging for sale I've seen since the Terraria shop's bright orange pumpkin shirt. The Zappinator is here. The solution for pre-hard mode has fallen into our loving embrace. And with no time to waste, we make sweet, passionate love to it, only briefly, then make a magnet flower, making us ultimately ready to ball the fuck out against a wall of flesh. And show him what a wall of flesh truly looks like. Take that as you will. We do some quick reforging, wanting to beat the Goblin Tinkerer to death with a sledgehammer the entire time. Make an extra large hell arena to compensate to a great extent, then get to work attempting to find a voodoo demon. Crying and dying many times over. We eventually find one, however, and considering we've made every preparation necessary for a real-ass gamer to succeed, we open up our arena, throw in the voodoo doll, and get immediately into battle. The Grey Zappinator, while erratic, works in our benefit to cut the wall of flesh into several bite-sized, marinated pieces of filet of flesh. Already pre-grilled because it's in hell. We slowly vor said pieces, withering its health down incredibly quickly. The Zappinator is a goddamn force to be reckoned with, and this fight proves it entirely. His hungry get knocked back with the force of a slap from the high heavens. Beams shoot on the double or even move at 1 mile per hour, hitting him several times per volley. Some beams simply clap his cheeks beyond repair for no reason other than it coming from the Grey Zappinator, and it feels fantastic. We keep our range, keep blasting, and sure enough, the wall of flesh succumbs to our very own wall of flesh. Yet another dub for the quirked up Terrarian. We are finally out of goddamn pre-hard mode, and it feels phenomenal. Because not only are we a step closer to finishing this putrid, stank premise of a challenge, but our options for weapons, while still limited, have opened up greatly. We head topside after our epic gamer victory and open our bag to see we did in fact get a gun. But it is simply not magical enough for our delicate mage hands. We need a blicky straight from Merlin's beard, not this run-of-the-mill Draco. With this being said, we go back down to hell and wring out the wall of flesh like a towel again, not once, not twice, but 3 more times until the stingy, disease-ridden shithead decides to give us our first immaculate hard-mode magic gun, the laser rifle. We are incredibly back. We have no time to celebrate by pouring sugar in the Goblin Tinkerer's gas tank, as we have hard mode ores to collect. We head to the Crimson and get to work, completely reverse slithering any Crimson altars that dare appear in front of us. Today's forecast calls for a gobsmacking amount of palladium, orichalcum, and adamantite. We immediately embark on yet another epic gamer mowing session, first collecting palladium, then briefly pausing after finding the Glizzard Wizard, and purchasing crystal balls as well as an ungodly amount of mana potions. Then going for orichalcum, and lastly spending the best years of our life scrounging for enough adamantite to actually have a set of balls in this hard mode land. Eventually though, we make our way topside with enough to make ends meet for once in our miserable lives, and make ourselves a wise, mystical set of adamantite drip, simply to flex on those around us. For more mechanical boss preparations, we roam the fiery pits of hell, asking mimics what that tongue do and finding out the hard way, all until we have the juicy mimic loot we desire. We make a star veil as well as a charm of mist to make ourselves blingual entirely. Then to keep the ball rolling, we grind up as many pixies as we can, all until we have enough of their fine powder to encapsulate and advertise as special nighttime performance enhancers sold specifically in gas stations. And also so we can make the manliest goddamn set of wings in existence. I'm of course referring to fairy wings, which, after carefully removing the skin from a handful of wyverns, we craft and put on immediately. Ladies, please calm yourselves. It's simply a pro gamer sporting fairy wings. To keep the boss rush in full swing, we add some extra layers to our Eye of Cthulhu arena to make it mechanical boss worthy. Then swing down to hell yet again to grind out some souls of light beneath the hollow. Then some souls of night. We take said souls, make ourselves a mechanical worm, and summon up the destroyer for our first mechanical boss battle. The fight goes fantastic. Our lasers travel through his robotic yet phallic worm body at great speed, and tend to his probes rather quickly. One small qualm about this fight we have is contact damage. We're rocking with the glass cannon fit, so any contact damage from the destroyer is detrimental to our physical and emotional well-being. Then there's the probes, and God rest the soul of anyone who gets probed by the destroyer. However, with the extra maneuverability from our manly ass set of wings, and the range we're able to keep with our laser gun Merlin Thule with a switch, it's only about a 40% ass clencher of a fight. We attempt to shoot through him hamburger style, to soak him in as much damage as possible by piercing many segments at once, and soon enough the destroyer's health is withered down into nothingness, allowing us to melt his body down into a chastity belt for the Goblin Tinkerer. The work is far from over, as with one mechanical boss down we have 2 more to go. And up next on our shit to explode to death list is none other than the twins, which we summon up immediately. The twins are always a hit or miss fight, meaning we either decimate them with fair ease, or we get our L7 vertebrae shattered into dust by the pure weight of 2 moon-sized robot eyeballs curb stomping me. However, as we see Spasmatism transform into a second phase, we see that we're on par with where we were in the Destroyer battle, meaning approximately a 40% cheek clench. Enough to crush a soda can, but not quite enough to compress a phone book. After Spasmatism is destroyed, we work our way to a 20%, which is around enough to fold a paper a few times. But despite the weight of Spasmatism being off our shoulders, for some odd, unknown reason, we find that Retinazer has apparently correctly placed his single contact lens in today, as this motherfucker does not miss. We get shot repeatedly, but attempt to keep the firing up to combat his laser flurries. It unfortunately does not go well for us, as we get his health down to a measly 3,000. Everything in between our ears is immediately cleaned out by one fatal shot. If I had a hydraulic press, I'd grab Retinazer by wherever his throat is and place him in it, simply to watch him burst into aluminum fragments. I'd even make a YouTube short out of it so people can add unnecessarily loud funk music and 8 overlays of reactions to it. I am furious. We attempt to harness our undying rage by summoning the metallic duo once more, and get immediately to work blasting the ever-loving shit out of Spasmatism until he quickly reaches his second phase. Through doing these playthroughs, I'm truly able to understand a mage as a whole. You have great versatility, mastered crowd control, fantastic DPS at just about any point of progression in the game. But if you take one singular slap to the ribs, you throw up twice and die immediately. The amount of damage you take as a mage is putrid. Atrocious even. But this fight serves as a prime example of what happens when you simply don't get hit as much as the battle prior. Our damage is fantastic, and it shows when we decimate Spasmatism once more and put all of our focus onto the giant bastard Retinazer. He will pay for what he put us through. No amount of mythical laser beams entering through his eye socket and out of his ass cheeks can express the amount of disdain I hold for him currently. We glide up and down attempting to dodge his volley of lasers, when at long last, he too crumples alongside his good-for-nothing dimwit brother. We only urinate on their graves twice because, as usual, there's no time to waste, as we have our last mechanical boss to tend to, that big bag of donkey dong Skeletron Prime. We summon him up and immediately get to battle, not aiming for any of his needless appendages, but only for his blemish-ridden forehead. We fly around in circles and keep blasting as much as we possibly can, withering his health down at a healthy and steady pace, an extraordinarily refreshing counterpart to our battle against the twins. We're able to keep solid distance from him, and truly weren't in any real danger at any point during this battle, which makes us feel goddamn unstoppable, like we might trip on our own dongus at any given point in our day-to-day lives. Soon enough, his health gets lower and lower until finally the mechanical trio have officially been dealt with, melted down and crafted into a very specific, very niche type of ring. Why stop now? We sleep the days and nights away, allowing more seductive Plantera bulbs to spawn, as well as allowing more sun-kissed chlorophyte to spread. Our one-way ticket to MILF Central expires soon, so we make haste in our epic gamer chlorophyte mowing session and gather as much as we can as soon as possible, all the while dreaming of Plantera's succulence that'll soon be within arm's reach. Once we have an ample amount of chlorophyte, we head topside and craft a sensual set of chlorophyte armor, which will hopefully be enough to woo Plantera entirely. This is when something magical happens. After sitting around only gooning ever so slightly, a traveling merchant arrives. We check his inventory and sweet mother of God, the orange Zappinator has fallen into our gamer hands, and hot diggity dog does it feel magnificent. Though this technically could have been obtained as soon as we entered hard mode, and this is about the 479th traveling merchant we have encountered since hard mode, it'll still serve as a cure for our itch when it comes to Plantera. We have everything we need and then some. So we head down to Plantera's den with 2 things on our mind: Plantera's oiled up cake and game progression. We quickly fix up our arena and summon her up to go directly to work. The orange Zappinator, while an actual hemorrhoid to obtain, is a fantastic weapon of choice to use against most hard mode bosses, Plantera included. The first phase is simple: ogle at Plantera from afar while putting her through the spin cycle. And soon enough, because of the immense amount of damage from our orange Zappinator, we break into her wine-drunk second phase and yearn for nothing more than to strip ourselves of this glorified armor and indulge in the jungle's finest. Though we must stay focused. The endgame is at our fingertips, and now would be the worst time to settle with Plantera and have her cook us breakfast every morning, right? Right, guys? Focus, WaffleTime, focus. We leap and bound around our arena so as to avoid her grippers, and make use of our distance to light her up from afar. Soon enough, while shedding only 46 tears, we bring Plantera's parade to a screeching halt. It's enough to make a grown man cry. However, our tears are wiped by Plantera Beyond the Grave when we get our hands on yet another magic gun. The Wasp Gun. Admittedly, we were after the Leaf Blower. However, I haven't used the Wasp Gun very much before, so this will serve as an exciting experiment on our beloved Plant MILF until we've obtained said Leaf Blower. Our second battle goes just as well as the first, though there's one minute detail to note. The Wasp Gun kinda blows. It's okay though, all is well, as on just our second attempt we managed to get the Leaf Blower. Now isn't that beautiful? This weapon is able to shred through many enemies at an astonishing rate, and will serve to be our saving grace for the foreseeable future. Now that we domed Plantera, our focus can now shift to getting some more immaculate drip. Spectre Armor is now available and will give us just the boost we need to slam our way into the endgame. With this said, we hit the Fungin for a small sprinkle of ectoplasm and an immense amount of immeasurable pain and suffering beyond human comprehension. Once we're done dying repeatedly and pulling more than one palmful of hair out of our head because of it, we shimmer our Chlorified Armor and replace it with a jaw-dropping set of Spectre Armor. We're armed to the teeth, we have a fantastic new set of armor. What's stopping us from slapping the back of Golem's head so powerfully that he turns from mud to brick? We charge to the temple. And seeing as it resembles the Homeowners Association, we become enraged at their needless, unnecessary, stupid antics, rules, and the fact that you have to pay extra to live in a home you purchased for them to harass you about the most ridiculous things imaginable. With this said, we rush through the temple as fast as we possibly can to avoid the outlandishness that's the HOA. What a joke. We eventually land headfirst in Golem's bedroom, and seeing as he promotes this type of behavior, we must tend to him the only way we know how, Merlin's blicky style. We fashion an arena up as fast as possible, ignoring the echoes coming from the hallway telling us we can't park our boat in our own driveway on property that we paid for and is legally ours, and the demand to see an architectural permit because I put a pot of flowers on my doorstep all because it goes against their stupid rules they made up. Then summon Golem up immediately to take out all of our rage on him. The Leaf Blower does phenomenally against him, blowing away his dumb HOA handbook directly into the gutter where it belongs. We take out his fists and aim for the non-existent brain behind his eyes, and manage to take out his head as well. Oh no, this is bad. It's a Karen Golem that couldn't get its way. It yells and stomps about publicly, causing an unnecessary scene and great uncomfortability for Annie and all around him. We must dispose of him quickly, and that we did. The power from our Leaf Blower knows no bounds, and as we see his health deteriorate into nothingness, we begin to feel much better about our day-to-day lives. Not too much better though, as Golem has something we want. The Heat Ray, high in damage, high in speed, and great for dealing with anyone who dares inconvenience us, is locked safely away in one of his treasure bags. And seeing as we didn't get it the first time, we try again, and again, and again. We fucking died and got nothing. We go back down and fight him again, and again, and again, when he finally drops the goddamn weapon we were after. That was unbelievably goddamn abhorrent, but we have the weapon we want. We're here, we're back, and we have many bosses to tame. We reforge our weapon as well as a sexy set of beetle wings we made with the abundance of beetle husks we unwillingly got our hands on, and with a lone truffle worm in our inventory, we make a quick arena for Dick Fishron and summon him up immediately. The fight, as all fights are against Duke Fishron, is terrifying beyond comprehension, especially as a mage. Every fell swoop, dash, or urethra resizing bubble blasting combo is a goddamn death sentence, and it shows every single time we get hit. Though with our glass cannon setup, we're able to hit him with the force of 1,000 suns, or as some would say, 1,000 wizard guns, and continue to do as much damage as we can while staying way the hell away from that guy. Soon enough, his third phase kicks in when he realizes he could have been teleporting this entire time, making us hold our breath the entirety of the time he's in this form of evolution. What in God's name are they putting in the water these days? Anyways, we unleash our secret hidden Master Dasher Blaster technique, and with some good timing and assumingly a lot of luck, we manage to take him down on the first try. As usual, however, we don't get what we want from the Filet-O-Fish looking bastard, as he has the chance to drop a bubble gun, which would be, my god, it would be sensual to have right now. No fun for us, no good and fun stuff for us, I guess. Luck out at the Zappinator combo, keep betting on red, in debt for the rest of my life, classic WaffleTime. Anyways, we try out Duke Fishron again and the fight goes just as well as last time. At first. We plow our way through his first phase, then his second, and begin enacting our Master Dasher Blaster technique when one missed timing quite literally turns our skin inside out and rolls us around in sand and gravel, all at a measly 576 health. If there was ever a time I wanted to viciously eat fish fillet with my bare hands more than right now, I would be genuinely surprised. It's all okay though, it's sunshine and rainbows in the sky. Because after going back to enact revenge, our Master Dasher Blaster technique works seamlessly. And after getting a Tempest Staff, we take all but a brief moment to headbutt our keyboard and mouse until they're a fine powder. Order new ones online, wait for them to come in, do software updates to make sure they run fine, then battle Duke Fishron yet again. This time winning by a goddamn thread. We again get a... We got a Tempest Staff again. We battle again. Tsunami. God! Well, I mean, you know, Fishron wings are cool, I guess. We have another go and get our hands on a Razorblade Typhoon, and at this point, completely and entirely lose all hope for the future. There is no more. I do not like looking at myself in the mirror any longer. Who am I? We give up on the bubblegum because it's stupid and dumb and no one likes it, and instead choose to take an alternate route. We rope up to space at the edge of our world and simply wait to get probed. We will not be telling our NPCs how the aliens came about. We instead will take the secret to the grave. The ultimate magic gun we're after that'll be our final weapon to take on the Moonlord with is the laser machine gun. Now these are dropped from Martian saucers from the Martian Madness event with a low but promising 1 out of 6 chance. This is when the carnage begins. We make our way through the Martian Madness event, slapping the bald heads of any and all Martian grunts that come our way, offering all their 3-titty-having wives an otherworldly experience, all until we get our first Martian saucer, which we bob and weave around gracefully while blasting the ever-loving shit out of it with a heat ray. Eventually it crumbles and we see we got an influx waiver. That's okay, it's our first try. We can't be mad at that. But one question begs to be answered following that occurrence. Can we be mad at 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, maybe 10, 11? How about 12? 12 goddamn saucers to get what we want! I think it warrants a bit of anger, perhaps even a bit more than a bit. God! My biggest enemy, my biggest hater, larger than the Moonlord itself, is fucking RNG. Holy God! After we clear up that event, we simply bask in the fact that we have our final weapon. How exciting is this? Not knowing if the bubble gun would be more beneficial than our beautiful laser machine gun, we air out Duke Fishron several times over until we get our hands on the bubble gun that could have prevented the entirety of the great Martian probing incident of 2024. It felt fantastic clearing out Duke Fishron's brain easily for a change, but there's much larger matters on our hands at this point. We have a lunatic cultist with a fine-ass mom to kiss on the lips in front of him. We go right over and do just that to begin the battle. The fight is simple enough, the lunatic cultist simply can't handle the WaffleTime style. It almost makes you feel bad for him, but we're not quite there. So we blast away with zero remorse. We lower his health steadily, taking the occasional lick, but then reminding him we'll be dishing several licks to his mother after this fight is over, which damages the lunatic cultist enough internally to croak on the spot and give us his loot. Now all that's left between us and ending this playthrough once and for all is the pillars and the Calamari Moonman himself. With this being said, there's not too many preparations we can make in regard to the Moonlord, so we haul ass to the Stardust Pillar, cheese it entirely, then reverse pile drive it in front of the remainder of the mobs. Next, we charge to the Solar Pillar, don't die a single time or scream loud enough that my neighbors no longer look me in the eyes when I walk outside, then slap it silly. Third on the list is the Vortex Pillar, which follows approximately the same route as the Solar Pillar, but this time I get 2 noise complaints. Oh, it's gonna take a lot more than that to take the dog out of a real-ass gamer. We ring it out, then fight our way through the Nebula Pillar, only grinding our teeth to the gums a handful of times before decimating it entirely. It's high time for the Moonlord. We have decent wings, so we decide to give it a spin. Okay. Clearly we're in need of other preparations. We start by making a nurse box out of alien tech, so she gets probed while we're off fighting an eldritch deity. Then upgrade our accessory game to maximize our damage output. As soon as she moves in, we wait till it rains and summon that bad boy up immediately. Our damage is incredible, and with the speed of our mount, we're able to avoid a staggering amount of his attacks. Not enough to keep the cheeks unclenched, however, as any hit we take is a goddamn death sentence waiting to happen. We teleport to heal when we need to, but other than that, we gun for his top eye as much as possible to purge the possibility of a phantasmal death ray defiling me. We take down his health slowly but surely, putting emphasis on his top eye but taking down the health of his hands at a steady pace. We're feeling good about this run. We intend on slapping those non-existent cheeks directly off the Moonlord's bones, and it appears as if our plan is working so far. Only time will tell, however, because the amount of damage we take off of one measly hit is ridiculously devastating. After many heals, we manage to take out his right-hand eyeball, and abuse the living shit out of some iframes to take the other out of commission as well. With all 3 eyes down for the count, we have nothing left to gun for but his heart, and we do just that. The widespread of our laser machine Draco serves as a blessing in this situation, as it makes it a lot harder for us to miss. Oh, you know, glass half full mentality. We dodge the majority of his attacks and watch his health slowly deteriorate until at long last, we did it. If there's one thing I learned about beating Master Mode Terraria with only magic guns, it's that anyone can do it. Matter of fact, it isn't even all too bad with some decent RNG luck. But good goddamn luck starting, as the start to this playthrough made me want to do unspeakable things to each component of my recording setup. RNG is also a tremendous factor, so be sure to drink your lucky soup the morning you start, because without it, RNG is going to knock on your door and full Nelson you with the power of 1,000 laser machine guns. With that being said, I'd like to thank you all very much for watching. This video did take quite some time to make, so if you enjoyed this video and you'd like to show your support, be sure to drop a like, subscribe, and leave a comment to let me know your thoughts on this video. Also, for video and stream updates, be sure to follow my Instagram and Twitter linked below. Thank you all very much again for tuning in all the way until the end, and I'll catch you gamers next time.